Could you start with an introduction of yourself and like what you're working on, please?
An introduction of myself. Wow. Okay, sure. So I start with what I'm working on, which is kind of already a bit known, which is BetterDo. Basically, an app that helps you implement the things that you see online, because a lot of us are just consuming information. It's hard to like keep track of that and put it into something that you're going to use. So a lot of work on that right now. Like literally before this, trying to upload the App Store. Going through some coding problems, but that's fine. And in general, about me, I'm 20. I'm Lebanese, so Middle East. If you know that country, it's a very tiny, tiny, tiny country. It's not in the best times right now, but I like it a lot. So there is kind of hope for that. I left university so I can do this because I found university useless. I know that you're kind of in this transitioning, um, and yeah, so I'm enjoying things right now with the work. Uh, General about me, I think that will show more in our conversations, just about how I see the world and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for this.
Sounds good, man. What do you like about Lebanon?
What do I like about, dude? Okay, so first of all, there's just if everyone's talking about diversity lately, like Lebanon is like super diverse. Like everyone can bond together, although on the outside looks like no one stands each other. Just true sometimes. uh, but it's just I remember because like I'll give you some history. So not even history. Like a few years ago, we had this huge like revolution where all of us just went to the streets, like I think half the country or something, and then we were like going against whatever the government was, and it was like peaceful protest. So although there's like 18 different sects, like all of us were kind of together, like with one country's flag.
Mm.
Um, and so that really stands out to me. That's something I really really admire. And the second is just like I think a lot of people here are like not entrepreneurial, but they have big things that they want to try, and so that's why like Lebanon's biggest power is actually its diaspora, which is like people living abroad. So like tons of people in Dubai and the US and Canada, they're Lebanese, but like here there's no one, and so that's why the country's kind of falling apart. Like they go to the UK, they go to the US, and now here there's no one left. And so that's one of the reasons maybe I want to stay here and like tell other people to stay here. So like we can make something out of this. Um,
Yeah.
but like most of the time it goes to UK. What do you like about the UK?
I mean, I speak English as first language. That's been helpful so far. I won't say the weather. Everyone always talks about the UK weather being terrible. It's not that bad, to be fair. In summer, it's actually nice. Rains a lot though. What else do I like about the UK? I don't know. It's pretty. Yeah, it's like peaceful, whatever. There's no.
Peaceful.
Well, I
Wait, why
mean,
are you?
compared to a lot of other countries, like
Ah,
you
yeah.
can't complain about like there being a war or anything. Like the roads all are like together and stuff.
Mm. What's the most threatening time like you felt like there's a threat? Did you ever feel that threat to your life?
In the UK or just
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
Oh right, UK. Probably in London. Yeah, the some parts of London are really nice and some are not so nice. Yeah, I don't know about threats in my life. No, honestly, it's pretty good. You can't complain really, to be honest, as long as you don't get stabbed. But like, as long as if you go out in the day, like it's literally fine, basically.
Mm.
From what I've
Yeah, I
experienced
mean,
anyway. I don't live in London, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, most places are actually safer than they like people assume. Like even here, or like even something that I think about, like people say, "Oh, like if there's even getting stabbed or something." Like it's so rare. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be less, but like worry less about it. Like most of the times, like if you come back, like you go back late at night, like no one's gonna like the world isn't that evil, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not everyone's thinking they want to rob you or they want to kill you. Just to be,
People
yeah.
blow out of proportion, and also the human kind of what's the word for it? Like predisposition to focus on the negative.
Ah,
Like
yeah, yeah, definitely.
defense mode. Oh, people get stabbed around here, and then suddenly you're like on alert, and it's like one person per year or something. But
Yeah, I have a story about that. Actually, in 3 years ago, around 3 years ago, we had this massive explosion here.
I was going to ask
And
about that. Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, I can tell you exactly where I was and stuff. But even like after that, I remember like because I reflected recently, and it's like I was scared of dying for the next 2 months, and I just expected another explosion to come up again, which is normal. But then like it is like I could also look back and say like that was kind of insane thinking to assume that. So just being objective kind of helps.
Thing is that in the wild or like in very bad places, like that kind of thinking does keep you alive. So it's a two-sided thing. But the modern world is a lot safer than
Yeah, I'm talking about the modern world exactly.
it has been. Yeah. What's the deal with that explosion? Because like, I remember hearing it like a couple of years ago, and did they ever
Yeah.
find out what actually happened?
Okay. So yeah, of course. So the country was actually in like a very bad state at that time. So 2020, Corona just came, COVID, whatever, in March, and then we already had the revolutions I told you about like a few months before that, and so everything was going down, and just it seemed like it couldn't get worse. And so for me, I was actually so there was also I think like you were fasting, so after fasting like there comes a period of like celebrations, which is Eid or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was like even like very shortly after that, and so I came down from the village, and I was living in my house before this, and that house was near a very like location which is targeted, and so I was just sitting at home, and then suddenly
Targeted by what?
by like so there's conflict between Lebanon and Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and so that area I think has like I don't want to say it's not tribe, it's like a militia which is directly like against Israel. It's like the battle is mainly between them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so like all of us think like if a war is ever going to come out, it's going to come to like that area near the city, the suburbs, and so like I was right outside of that, living right outside of it. And so I looked outside, and then boom, something just went out. I was like, it's definitely a rocket. And so it was like outside the suburbs. I was like, my house is next. And so I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna die now. It's just like it's because it just came like next to me. Now later I found out that it was actually like farther from there, and it was massive. So I don't know if someone saw the videos. Like you can Google it now, like Beirut explosion 2020, and it was. If you look at the video, you can see kind of like CGI, whatever, because it's huge. It's insane. Like buildings collapsed, people like lost their homes. I'm not saying. I'm just saying the story. Like it was even after that, things were better than expected because a lot of help came. Like people, like I said, we all unified together and start rebuilding, like literally rebuilding because things collapsed. Like the silos, the like the port. It's basically in our port. There were like tons of ammonium nitrate, and then for an unknown reason that we don't know yet, still don't know, something caused all of those to explode, and then that erupted, and then it just blasted like the city. And so we're kind of lucky that it wasn't worse, but it was a very big one. And like kind of normal for me. I don't know why. Although I said for 2 months I was crazy, it was like we're alive. Just thankful for that.
Yeah. That's what I heard. I thought that it was like there was lots of chemicals or like material that was kind of unstable or something just being stored in this massive container
Yeah. So
thing. So,
yeah. So what they said was basically there was a ship in like 2015 or 16 that like just sat here for I don't know how many years, and then it just one day uh, nothing happened. But like since then, the country. Okay, I don't want to continue talking about this bad stuff, but like sure, the inflation was like super bad, and then like electricity and then stuff like that. Um, it's so weird. It's one of the weirdest things like I see because like you can see a percentage of the country very much suffering, and then there's another percentage like thriving. Because if someone like lives abroad or has someone abroad, then they're getting like US dollars. So they're going to be fine. And actually things are cheaper for them. But the other ones who get their salary from here are going to get like something for super expensive because of the dollarization. So I think like even there's some inflation going on around the world. Can you tell me more about that? Because I have no idea what's going on outside. I just know that even outside there is some inflation.
oh sure, yeah. So well, at least in the UK, there's been like double-digit inflation, like 10%. I don't think any quite more than that. I think it's similar in the US. It's starting to come down now, I think. I think the main reason was because during COVID, or especially in America, they were just handing out checks to people. The UK, they were paying people like 80% of their salary to stay at home and do no work. So you've got all this new money flowing into the economy, from what I understand, and the economy's not producing any more stuff. So obviously that is going to lead to inflation.
How has it affected you personally? Do you like go and notice, or do you not really notice the difference?
I mean, stuff's more expensive in the shop, but not like crazy. The main thing actually was like the fuel. The fuel went up like 2x or something. I think it started to come down again now, and people said because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict thing, Russia like turned off the gas to Europe, which led to price rises. But that was the main thing. Yeah, there was like people just rush buying as well, like to go and get fuel, and then that just added to it, I think. But yeah, it can't be as bad as Lebanon. Like it's just
It's weird sometimes though when you look at that and then you go online and you see all these podcasts and all the synthesizers and stuff. It's like we're living in a different reality because we're not concerned. Like if you sit at your laptop for most of the day, like you even forget about all the things that are going on outside in some way. Like if you see Sam Ovens or you see Andrew Kirby or you see that like right now they're doing these masterminds or someone is doing something big on YouTube, it's like a different world because maybe because online the section that we're in doesn't show very much the bad parts, and so I think that's why we're more optimistic because we're not seeing all this things that's not good. Like
maybe
if you think about your feed on YouTube or podcasts or whatever, do you see more negative or positive things?
positive. I'd say. Oh, it's more like educational stuff. I wouldn't really say
Exactly.
it's even. It's just kind of neutral, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That like even that part, like educational, it's when you're into that. I don't know if I'm just saying something wrong, but when you're into that, you don't pay attention to the stuff that can hold you back with what's going on in the economy.
Well,
Like
I've
if
like on purpose they almost tried to, get rid of that stuff. I mean, people watch like mainstream media like multiple times a day, and it's just terrible for your brain. I mean, it's just constantly negative. I mean, no wonder you're paranoid or whatever.
it's true. And like for you, this is maybe we can go into like why we choose what we choose. So free will. Let's get a bit into free will. So right now you're deciding to leave school. And so, to what extent are you making that decision, or is it just based that you just happen to stumble upon some type of content or some type of business models that looked good to you, and so that's why you went that route? So there's nothing special about you. It's just that me, you, Victor, we're just lucky that the YouTube algorithm hit us with some insights about how we could live the self help business whatever world, and so we went that route. What do you think about that?
I have to think. But that's a big thing you're getting into there. I'm just thinking like how I even got into this thought, like originally.
Hmm.
I mean, a large part of my self growth, I guess, has come from a lot of influences in the beginning, right? Like most people don't do a lot of this stuff. Um, so I don't know. I feel like most people, if you gave them the right inputs, they would come to similar places.
Hmm.
So does that mean it's not free will? I'm not sure.
Well, what influenced you the most? And I'll tell you like what happened with me too. But like, what do you think influenced you in this direction? Because your friends, not all your friends are in the same path, right?
No, I found a guy the other day in my college who kind of is. Yeah.
Like it's only one guy.
Literally, I think I found like one guy who's like properly seems to be on it. Um, yeah, we were just sitting in a lesson and he was on his phone, and I just see like I recognize that logo and he's in like the Hamza Discord, so I started asking him about it, and then there we go. We went from there. Anyway, what's the question? What were the main influences? Yeah, so I kind of got into it through fitness originally. I think, pretty sure. So my cousin, I'd say, we went to their house like Christmas something, and he had a pull-up bar, and he had like biceps. I don't know how old I was then, like 13 maybe 14. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's not bad.
And I'd seen like Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff in like movies and stuff, and I just kind of thought, well, if he can do it, I can probably do it. So my dad, we've always been like pretty healthy. Like I
Okay.
played rugby from a young age, and so yeah, I've got my parents to thank for that as well. But I was like, well, okay, well we got a pull up bar, and it kind of started from there, and then progressed more YouTube and stuff like how to build muscle. And then I'm pretty sure I saw a fake guru ad on Instagram, and that got me into the whole finance thing, and here we are. I mean, there's a couple of
No, it
steps
starts
missed
with
out
the
there, but yeah, no, definitely like your parents, friends, family are going to influence you a lot. I think. Like, I think it's if your best friend is like obese, you're like 60% more likely to be obese or something. And especially
yeah.
especially for like kids, like if your parents like smoking and eating junk food all the time and just like watch TV, like
Mm,
you're fighting a battle, to be honest.
yeah. So
But
so go ahead.
I was gonna say, but that's not an excuse to just be a victim and say, oh, I can't do anything about it. Like, sure, not everyone has like the same start, right? But it's still your problem, even if you didn't cause it, right?
Yeah, and so if someone like because the thing is that what you're noticing and what you just said is that the people around us aren't exactly on the same page. Like if you want to leave school, your parents aren't with you on that. So even though your environment kind of influences you a lot, sometimes you take decisions that aren't based on that. So if someone is surrounded by people who are unhealthy, but they decide to be healthy,
Hmm.
they can.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
but
possible.
it's hard. And so like so for me, I don't know, for some reason it wasn't hard. Like I'm not very much affected by social influences. So like the thing you mentioned about family, like my family does not care at all about like health, like they eat sugar, they smoke, they whatever they want, don't care about sports. And so that came from me. And so maybe advice that I'd give for someone is just like um one, I think what helped me was because there was these people online that I can listen to. Like if you or like the people, the fitness influencers, like that, listening to like not, I don't know, I don't listen to a bunch of fitness influencers, but like once you see them and you notice that, oh, I think like that, that can help you not feel like so like you can't do that. In fact, it helps you like take conviction that no, what I'm doing is the right thing.
Mm.
Uh, and so I think it's important to be yourself and do that. Like
Yeah.
if someone does something just because of the societal influences.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
definitely got better at, ignoring those
yeah.
influences. But you kind of also have to be able to evaluate because
Mm,
some
mm.
influences are going to be better than others. If someone's actually done what you want to do, then you should probably listen to them more than someone randomly just
Fake gurus. Yeah,
hating on
I
you.
fell in that trap too. So, uh, but yeah, like I'm just thinking if someone is affected a lot by those social influences that are holding them back, because I know a lot of people who are stuck. Like they want to do this business thing, but it's like I don't want to do it because my family doesn't, or I can't do that because like I'm scared that my friends would think I'm blah blah blah. And so in the at the end of the day, it's kind of like you just have to choose what to say yes to, and once you say yes to that, then you're automatically going to forget these other voices. So clarity maybe becomes important to that. Um, you mentioned once you journaled for like I don't know 6 hours straight.
I don't know where you got that from. 6 hours
No, we had
straight.
a
Yeah.
synthesizer call, and then you and Mia were like you just journaled for I don't know how many hours. Uh,
I don't think that was me. I've journaled a lot about certain decisions and stuff, but I don't think I've ever done 6 hours straight.
yeah.
No,
Anyway,
I think that was
yeah,
Corey. I think that was Corey.
pretty sure it was you. But anyways, doesn't matter. Um,
Some like
yes.
alternate reality or something going on here.
No, it's fine. But yeah, well, just do your thing. For me, I started, I think, The first self-help video I watched, I think I used to listen to some motivational stuff a long time
Mm.
ago, like Tom Billieu, like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. So that's where it started. Like I can, like you can do some, and a lot of that came because I used to play sports a lot. So I was like football, which is for you football if you're American soccer, and some running,
Soccer.
soccer, yeah, yeah. And so I used to train like a lot. And so that needed that motivation, like, oh, you can do that, you can do big things. But then I think I found Mind Valley. Do you know Mind Valley?
Mm.
Yeah, and so it started with Jim Quick telling me, if you want to remember everything, do this. And then I watched like a webinar, and then I watched like 10 other webinars. And then I started begging my parents to get me a subscription to Mind Valley, which was like $600. And I was like, this is better than school. This is much better. And I still believe that. But that's where it starts. I'm very curious to see like how each person started theirs. Actually, I think mine started before that. Hmm. Yeah, mine started a bit before that. Anyway, books, probably books. What are like your top three books you'd give someone?
It
Who,
depends on
yeah,
who they
not
are.
fitness. It's more about like life and business.
I mean, it depends on the person and
Oh,
like
that's
what stage they're at. But
for me.
for you, oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I know then. I don't. If it was like to myself when I was younger,
Yeah, sure.
then that's probably easier. I don't know because I feel like you already know a lot of the stuff that I find useful. So,
Ah, yeah.
just trying to think the most transformative books for me are probably Rich Dad Poor Dad, The 4 Hour Work Week,
Really?
and I mean I think more, but just trying to think of the books I've actually read. Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. I don't know. They're so like basic.
I,
But I think
I, I
go on,
Rich
go.
Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read it and it's like I don't think it's like that big of a hype. It's just make money work for you. That's basically the main thing, and he's just telling you like you can make tons of money by not working a job. I think that was just the main lesson in like one sentence.
That was
I do think the book is overhyped. Is there something else I don't know, like assets liability, anything else?
no, I don't think so. But like that was, I'm just gonna say that was a pretty important thing for me at the time I read it. I think because
Ah,
a lot of people, like all I saw around me was like people like go to university, get a good job, go to university, get a good job, study hard, get a good job, and then it's like you don't necessarily need a job. In fact, it might be better if you didn't have a job. So,
oh.
boom.
Actually, recently I'm thinking about this, and it's like, is it that way? So if you think like when Rich Dad Poor Dad first came out, that was I think the year 2000, and so back then maybe a salary, I don't know what's the average salary in the UK.
um, 20, $25,000 about.
Okay, that's
I
per year,
think.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, per year. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and so okay, first of all, that's much lower than I expected for the UK. Uh,
It might be 30, but
yeah,
the
but anyways, so basically now you look at like that's you working like 8 to 10 hours a day. And so that's why, of course, it's not efficient. If it's 25, so you're like making like 2,000 to $3,000 a month. And so that's basically nothing compared to entrepreneurship. And you have to work a lot. But now, if you compare like these days how salaries are with like all these startups coming out, like tons of tech things. So, and now the salary is like in America, it's like six figures is like the starting if you graduate university. And it's like, well, we prefer freedom, you and I, right? So we don't always want to like get the highest paying job. We just want something that gives you like for you to be able to live your life but still do some work. I think, or I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what you want, but that's for me too. Um, and so, what if you work part time on that job? So you're working 4 or 5 hours a day, which is basically like literally a very, very, very your day, and you're getting 50 to 60K. And so now the job is actually could be an easier option for people than it is to go for the entrepreneurship route. And that's only if you don't have something that you really want to do. I have a question for you. What's what are some business ideas of yours? If you had capital, if you had leverage, what business idea, what business would you start?
I mean, I haven't thought how practical this is, but this one time I had this idea, and it still stayed with me that like, so you know, dams like hydroelectric dams.
Hydroelectric. Yeah, okay.
So where water is stored and falls down and turns a turbine and generates like green electricity. I was
Okay.
thinking you could probably put them like small scale ones, probably like in a house or like in drains. Because if you've already got water falling down a tap, I'm just thinking, well, I mean, it might not be like economically worth it if there's like not that much water, but if you put one like at the bottom of the entire house, I feel like that could work. Because if the water's already falling due to gravity, all you need to do is just stick a turbine underneath there, and then that's basically free energy because you just capture some of the gravitational potential energy, turn
Okay.
into electrical. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
okay.
if I'd
Okay,
start
so
that, but I think that could be a cool thing that doesn't exist yet.
let's just say, okay, so now just try to pitch it as if you want me as an investor to give you money. So just structure it in a way like, tell me, this is an industry that's going to make you like $1 billion, and like it's only going to cost you this much to test out, and then there's 100 houses in the UK, and so we're going to give it to them. Each one buys it for $100, and then you make 10,000. Can you try to do a pitch? Just do a pitch. Just go full on businessy, like lie to me. I don't care.
What is this? Okay.
Business class.
Well, I'd focus. You'd want to focus, I think, on like the fact how it's like wasted now, and it's free. Well, and also people love talking about the climate right now, so that's another thing.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
And then you, I haven't thought about this that much, okay. But yeah, you can capture that thing. All you need to do is install a turbine. There's no. It's not like you have to change any way people are doing things. They're already having baths and showers and running their taps and
Okay.
stuff. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, I don't know how profitable it would be for an investor. I don't know if you get one of those in every house, and you could get governments on board with that. I think. Yeah, not really a pitch. I'm just kind of trying to think through it myself, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you kind of convinced yourself, like, like okay, governments, and then people said, oh, okay, then this could work.
Why?
That's something you can think about today.
Yeah, I mean that's not like my main focus right now to start that business, but that's something I could do in the future for sure. Yeah. So can you talk more about your app? How did
Yeah,
you
yeah, of
get
course.
started with that,
Okay, so okay, let's go back one for my help. So
or even actually like a more detail of like what it actually is and does?
yeah, okay, I'll go through the whole process from start to finish. So in November 2021, I was doing football training, and I heard a podcast by Huberman on how to learn skills faster. And I was like, okay, you have to like do a breathing exercise first, and then you have to focus your eyes on something, and then you have to like between the stuff you have to take like 5 minute pauses of doing nothing and then listening to white noise. Super weird stuff. But basically, I tried it for like juggling the ball, and so I was like the worst at juggling always. But then in like 2 weeks, I went from just being able to do like 10 or 15 to doing like 100, 200. And it was like super fast. And I wasn't ever able to do that. I was like, okay, this is crazy. And even before that, I was obviously listening to all these podcasts. Like Huberman, there was School of Greatness when he brings on the neurosurgeon, neuroscience, all that stuff, health, fitness. That was like 2021 was my phase of listening to every single podcast. I was like, I want to get all this knowledge. I want to put it all here and whatever. And then eventually I was like, okay, I don't want to really do all this stuff. uh, and so it was kind of like an epiphany where I looked back and I was like, okay, I do some stuff, but it's like, there's this overwhelm that eventually is not going anywhere. But it started with a Huberman one where I wanted a tool for the learning thing. And so I was like, okay, let's see how I can make something with this. And so I opened like a prototype thingy. It's called Bubble. I was like, let's see. And so I just made a site, which looking back now is so stupid. Like I'll share the link with you. You basically open the site, and then there's a breathing GIF, just going breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. And then that's like for 20 seconds. And then there's a spinning thing to focus your eyes on. And then every 2 minutes, it pings you. And then a 5 minute, it gives you another human protocol that you can do while you're learning something. It's basically part of something while you're doing it. And so it started there. But then I was like, no, it needs to be more. And so I just started creating tons of stuff. So that was like,
This was for you, right, in the beginning. This was so
yeah,
that you
yeah.
could learn skills faster, that you weren't thinking of turning this into an app by then.
In the beginning, I was just like, I want to try this, yeah. And then once I started adding stuff, I was like, let me try it like for others, other tools. I was like, for resistance training, for sleep, there's like certain automations and tools. And now looking back, I'm like, that's so stupid because I didn't talk to anyone. So I was in my own little bubble for like 6 months, where I was like just doing stuff without showing it to anyone. And I was like making app, doing blah 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 blah. And so the way it started in the beginning was you could choose just the like you could see summaries for each topic. So there's productivity, there's sleep, there's focus, concentration, distraction, those stuff. And then you could choose what you want, add it, and then you have a habit tracker for it. That was just the gist of it. And I was like, no, I need to add more features. And so I was started reading behavioral science, and it's like, I want to add music to the app. I want to add games to it. I want. And I was like, yeah, keep putting them in. I want to add spaced repetition. If someone wants to skip, they can skip. And I was putting all that stuff in. And then I was like, I put out the first version on Reddit. Then it kind of sucked. Like people open, and it's like I saw the recordings. And this is for anyone trying to build product. Like you need to know this. You'll open, and then you'll see people trying to play around, and they don't understand a single thing. No one understood anything about how the app works. Not at all. It was like I looked. It's like people signed up. They put their email, and then they just didn't know what to do. And so I was like, that was like a week where I was like, I have no idea what to do. Why didn't people understand it? It's so clear. It's so simple. It wasn't clear. It wasn't simple. So lesson from that is just look at the other person's perspective and just put the product out as soon as possible to people to see and check if it works. Whether you're making an app, whether you're making a video, whether you're trying to do cold emails, like that's what Andrew has, which is start then learn, not learn then start. And so yeah, but I do think it was valuable because it was like all on my own. But it was all with the objective that like I want to take all this stuff about health and wellness and fitness, and I want to like just make sure I can do it. And so that's where the name BetterDo came. I was like, okay, so you know this, but like you better do it. And then the other version was like to optimize whatever you're doing because it's like Huberman optimization, like not just Huberman, anything you're doing by education, like you're optimizing, and so you're doing it better. So like you better do the thing that you already do. And so I was like, I was enjoying the name, which is totally useless at that time. But yeah. And I was also thinking about one side, which was like the mental health aspect, which is like a lot of people assume that you need to like therapy and like taking certain I don't know like antidepressants so that you can feel better. Where it's like more about the actions that you take and more about your habits and your lifestyle than it is about those. So it was also a play on that, which is like there's a company called BetterHelp, you know, the therapy one. So it's like no, you don't need help. You need like better habits. So it's like BetterDo. And so I just enjoyed that for a while for no reason. Um,
Better sleep, nutrition, and sun. That will do people a lot of good.
yeah, I mean exactly. That's where it starts. And so that failed. And then around that time, I don't know how, but I got into an incubator, which is called Founders Institute, which is similar to Y Combinator, but it's like not as good. But it was international. And so I got into that. And then I was like, so there they were kind of forcing us to do pitches and like okay, so how will you present it to investor? Kind of like what I told you. What's your plan? Put on your business plan, put this, whatever. I was like, that's so stupid. Why would anyone do that? I mean, and I noticed anyone trying like right now thinking of doing a like going into a startup competition or something, that's totally useless. I mean, I literally saw something last week and they were like a program 1 year so you can uh, plan your ideation to just
Just
test if the
plan.
idea, just to see if the idea, like just ideation for a year. And at the end, you do a pitch without doing any product, without doing anything.
That sounds dumb, yeah.
And you have no idea how many people go into it. And I'm just happy that I didn't go that route. Like, like recently people are like more skeptical with raising money and stuff. Like it's less, they're less interested in going and getting VC and growing big companies. Just like now, you can bootstrap it, see people like it, and then from there you can grow. And so for me, that's how I thought about things the whole time. I never wanted to like go raise money. Although like I know like if I prepare a pitch deck and whatever and say like, this is then people can give you money. Like I don't. It's not that hard.
Well,
Easy for me to say. But
is money even what you need right now? Because
exactly. And it's
sometimes you just need to, develop the product to be better, and you can already do that, right?
100%. And so I didn't know how to do that, but I started learning how to do that. And so that was why I didn't need money. I mean, someone could say I need money for marketing, for getting someone to help me out, for getting all that stuff. But it's like, one, I'm learning a ton because I'm doing everything on my own. And two, I'm seeing if it's something that people want. And so back to the product and how it fails, I did that version one, which sucked. And then I actually did a video and uploaded it for this for the app, and I was like, this is coming out soon, and it got like 50,000 views on Reddit, and I was like, oh my god, and a lot of people said that they wanted it and whatever, and I was like, so then right after that, I was like, okay, time to like start selling it. And so basically in Lebanon, we have no PayPal, we have no way to receive money, there's no payment gateways. And so I had an email list of like 100 people who signed up. Um, and I was sending them some newsletters. But then one time I just told them, hey, before we release the app, we have an early discount. So if you're interested, just reply to this email. And I think, okay, so at that time actually it was a 70 people, and then five responded. And at that time, I was like, only five responded. That's so bad. I was like, 50,000 views. That's so little compared to how much it should be. Because I had no idea how analytics work. Uh, and so it was better than I expected. It was at that time. So do you know about like conversion rates and like stuff like conversion rate is usually low. Okay. So for me, I was like, okay, if conversion rate is like let's say newsletter open rate, it was 50%. I was like 50% are not opening, and that's just so bad because like 50% was actually like it's actually considered decent. Or
That's
if you get like signups compared to like views, and that was like 80%. Like why aren't these people not signing up? And it was like only 20%. And so I think it's important for someone to realize about the analytics. Yeah, because like, and even I just said like I told 70 people like, hey, there's a product. And only five responded, but like those five people are ready to pay. Like they're ready to pay. And so if you consider that, like if I want to do a yearly subscription, so that's $70 times five, that's $350. People were just willing to pay without even using the product yet,
yeah.
which is crazy. It's like, oh, okay, there's a need. And so I was stupid from that side, but I also couldn't receive the money. So and I had to get money so that I could enter that founder institute thing, the incubator, which I didn't continue, but I needed it at the time. And so I actually put extra pressure on myself. I was like, I need to get a sale this week. Uh, and so there was a guy who responded. Uh, and first of all, I responded to all of them like, hey, you need to send money through Western Union. Do you know what Western Union is?
Western Union. Okay,
It's
I might have heard
basically,
of it. I'm not sure.
yeah, you basically send money abroad, but you have to do it like you can't do it with like your credit cards. I mean, you go to a clerk, and then you give them money, and then they can send it, and then I have to go cash pickup. So you can't send it to my bank. You can't send it to my PayPal because those don't work. Our banks are like crazy. I don't want to get into that. So I had to. So I went on a call with someone for 1 hour to sell him to use the app, and it worked. So he sent $70, and I was like, I got my first sale. And then 1 or 2 weeks later, yeah, it was that. And then 1 week later, he wasn't using it, and I was devastated. I was like, okay, the app sucks, which is also stupid looking back now because he works at Microsoft, and he's like, I don't know, a leader of whatever, and he's like he's super busy the whole time. But the fact that he didn't use it, I was like, the app sucks. I need to change it.
Off of one data point.
But again, looking back, it's stupid, especially after a lot of people showed interest. But then I was like, okay, I need to change it. And so I continued that with also like still not making money apart from that 70. I was like, I need to work on the product again, which like you see the good and the bad. That I want to work on the product, but at the same time, like there is a need to monetize it. And so that's the kind of like, I wasn't sure what to do, but then I took the choice to choose product. Um, and so I continued with it. But like, I'm going to give you tools and you're just going to customize it in some way. And you're going to have your like habit tracker, stuff that you need to do every day. Okay? Simple, clear to explain. But then again, I did a new version. I was so happy with it. This is amazing. This is blah, blah. And then I put it out. More interest, but then again, no one used it. I was like, okay, need to change the product again. So I did another version.
Did you have notifications in yet?
Yeah, I did. And
No,
this is
but
what we're
then, back then.
no,
Okay.
no. I had no notifications. I had no email follow-ups. I had no welcome email. I Everyone who signed up, I did not like contact with in any way. I didn't have Google Analytics was barely set up. I didn't have Hotjar, which basically tracks like how the person uses the website or Mixpanel or whatever. Um, I had nothing set up.
So
So
yeah, if you just pinged them, they might have remembered and be like, "Oh, this is actually good," and then they get a habit of actually using the app.
even worse, it's a website. It's not like App Store downloaded, and so they see it and it's gone, which is like I'm so stupid. That's what I think. Like I'm so stupid. Um, and so that was around like November, December, and then January. But then I was like, but my biggest metric the whole time was, am I using it? Okay, so that's one thing.
That's good.
Was Yeah, and so it's good and bad because a lot of the times I changed the product based on me. So what happened was when I joined Synthesizer community, when I started getting into the business side, I was like, no, I need to, there's a Huberman. No, I want to add Alex Ramosi too. I want to add Andrew Kirby. And then it's like the product gets all over the place. So I was trying to solve my own problem. But then for it to be a business, I had to separate myself kind of from it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think there could be some benefit to you putting stuff in that you want because, I mean, other people might want that as well. But yeah, it depends on
100%.
your situation and who you're kind of aiming at.
Yeah, because the general advice we hear, like people tell you do what you enjoy or do something that like you'll like watching, and so that's what I lived by until I realized that okay, like I barely know what I want, so I can't give to people like all this stuff. It doesn't really make much sense. Um, and so I changed a bit, and I basically made it like you can follow these coaches. You have Ramosi, Huberman, whoever you want, Naval. I asked you guys also in the meeting, so it's like I was just looking like who are the top people. Um, and then you could follow them and then you could take actions. And so I worked on that. And then it was like, I need to do the summaries. And so I went and then I consumed all the content and I threw it in the app. Then again, I just noticed this second that I didn't even look at the analytics of that. And right now, I don't know if people like that or not. I just moved on to create the next version. Wow, that's stupid. Uh, that's fine. Let me see.
Maybe you need like a private section of the app that's just for you. Like, reminder, check the analytics.
I'm actually doing like yeah, there should be that because yeah, because I'll get into my personality like after this, like psychology stuff, because I'm super interested in that. But basically, I jump from thing to thing. But then, like the newest version, basically, is you get only one action a day, and it's like so clear. You just open the app, you see what you have from the mentor that you follow. It's basically usually based on someone you follow or books that you've read or something that you've already consumed. So the point is not for you to learn something; it's just for you to 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so basically, you see the thing that you've already consumed so that you remember it, and then you just customize it by answering a simple question. Then you get the action, and you have 24 hours to finish it. That's basically the gist. And so I'm still confused about some stuff because I want to add more features. I want to make it better, but that's the main thing. And so right now, for you, let's say you're working on or you're reading a book about like starting a new business, and so you would probably learn from who's someone you like learning from.
Hormozy, I don't know, for off.
Hormozy. Okay, so sure. So Hormozy has a video on like how to start a business, and you watch his video, and he has like 15 minutes saying you should need to do this, you need to do that, you need to blah blah, and then he gives it everything, and it's so intense in like these 15 minutes, and then the video's over and you don't do anything. So now you open the app, you're gonna choose that video, and then you can follow like step by step. So once you finish action one, which could be something very simple like choose the niche, or if it's not even choose the niche, like it's what niche are you interested in, and then that's like do some research about this niche. And so it'll only take you like 5 to 10 minutes to do so. It doesn't interrupt your day. And then from there, once you do that, you can put like get next action. So you finish that and then you move on to the next one. And you can see like, okay, so you have 15 actions you need to complete to actually implement this thing. And on that basis, you go from just knowing the piece of information to actually implementing it. So that's, I'm not really sure the way I want to go through that. Still very confused. Best thing to do is just talk to more people and see what they want. And so maybe now you can give some feedback about what I said, what you think makes sense, what is too complicated, what can be improved, why wouldn't you use it, that kind of stuff.
I'll just add, like, one of the things, I guess, from computer science at school I actually learned that I thought was probably useful is that kind of, I think they call it extreme programming methodology, where you make like a minimum viable product and then you like publish it, get feedback, debug, and then improve, and just, it's like an arrow and then circular, like, and then just keep churning out new versions after taking the
Yeah,
feedback,
lean.
which is a lot quicker way to grow, I think, because if you said you're like sitting in your office or whatever, 6 months, 1 year, just building a product, and then you publish it and no one cares. It's like, you're better off make like a quick one in like a month. And it's obviously not going to be perfect. Just ask people like, do you think this is even a good idea? And like, yeah, okay, what features are the most important for you to actually want to use this? Then you implement them, keep it going. Like you said, test and learn or whatever. Start then learn.
Yeah, well then, sure. Let me send you a link, and then we'll see the live feedback immediately. Let me just check that this works.
Oh, you want me to like go on the app now? Okay.
Wait. I'll send you a new link of like the newer version, kind of, just to make sure that this is functional. Because we're publishing to App Store, and that's going to be kind of different. Just 1 second.
This
Okay.
this podcast was sponsored by BetterDo.
No, it's actually just for like seeing like a live reaction, which I think could be valuable, like a super honest one. Um, but I just want to make sure that this works.
Sure. Yeah. While you're pulling that up, if anyone wants to check it out, it's betterdo.net, right?
Yeah, it's better than
So if you want to not just learn from your favorite creators, but actually implement it, then I haven't played around with it too much, to be honest. But
yeah,
I think it'd be, people should check it out, see what they think. Right, okay.
thanks. And if anyone wants to check out Owen's podcast, it's the Sheasby podcast.
Shall I share my screen?
No need. You can just check it out on your own. But then okay, this is much not for me, but I think just for anyone who's watching, that's like just you saying what you think to my face, and like saying, okay, this like this like that. I think that's what's missing with a lot of the things that go on. They're like honest feedback, and like when someone posts something online in the community, it's like everyone's like, hey, very good, very good. But I think it is valuable to just point out the bad stuff, because that's how we improve.
Yeah, sure. Right, okay, I'll go in now, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Your first action, you've got human here. Business, it says. Thanks. Probably shouldn't say business there. But anyway,
Good point. Yeah. Okay, that's a bug.
smell can be a maker or deal breaker in relationships.
Oh my God! Wait? Which link do you open? Was it one I sent?
Yeah, it says look at the sun setting in the afternoon, but I've got... Wait, hang on, I'll click on it
See,
again.
bug, amazing.
Huberman's telling me I need some new deodorant. So that's not what I'm
No,
getting
just press the arrow, which is like repeat something.
here. Oh yeah.
I think you should get another tool.
Listen to distant sounds. Should I go that one? Or I'll open the link again?
You can just choose whatever you want. Just keep on refreshing till you get something that you want. This is because you skipped the onboarding, which is basically you didn't choose the things that you're interested in. You just jumped right into
I think
it.
it's because I logged in before this podcast.
Okay. Yeah, well then. You can follow Huberman.
Oh, let's just go with this one, right? Don't snack at night because it ruins your sleep. Most benefits of fasting are reaped and strengthened during fasted sleep. Use this tool to progressively retreat your final meal time by altering your time block and environment. Yeah, that's interesting because recently I was speaking to Anthony Chafee and he was saying how I think eating carbs near bed can actually mess with your growth hormone release, which happens 2 hours after you fall asleep, which is... I didn't know that before. Right, okay, choose an activity to do at night. Your action is customized based on this answer. Oh, I see. Okay, so an activity instead of eating. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. I mean, I don't really snack at night, so it's not really an issue, but
Okay.
maybe I should have chose a different one. Should I choose a different one?
No, it's fine. No. Like
Okay.
that's the point. It's supposed to be bad.
No,
Like you
but
said, like just put it
that was
on.
kind of me, because I was like, oh, I'll just go with this one anyway. Okay,
It's
anyway,
fine.
what
It's
do I
fine.
normally do? I normally like read or journal, so I'll just put read.
Yeah, just put reader general. Okay.
Read at night to avoid snacking, your action item. Now, instead of just hearing the info, you'll implement it. Oh, nice. We've got this kind of... I like this thing where it, like, takes you around, like, this button does this, this button does this. Set a reminder. You can get a notification or email. Okay, fine. I'll press this. Oh, does it work? It's not letting me click it yet. Hang on. 24 hours.
You should finish the.
Okay, now I can do it. Okay, and it's pulling up my email. Okay, sure. We're going with it.
No need for the email. Wait, doesn't it pop up like a thing from the top that asks you to agree notifications?
Oh, I've already done that. When do you want to be... No, I haven't had that, no. When do you
You
want to be
didn't get like a.
reminded?
Yeah, because the email is unnecessary if you've already subscribed to that. I don't know if before maybe it already showed up, so that's why it didn't show up now. I don't think so. Just
Maybe I should share a screen. I think I'll share a screen now.
yeah, no worries.
So you can actually see what I'm saying. Can you see that? Like, can you hear me? Because I know it sometimes mutes you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Right. So I press this, and it does this.
Yeah. Well, the first time that you pressed it, did you get anything from the top that asks you, "Do you want to receive notifications?"
No. Well, from up
Okay.
here. The padlock.
Yeah. There's something supposed to show up. I see a
Okay,
few.
this
Let me check.
timer.
Which ones?
The timer could probably do with some zeros in there.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like, you know, because is that 50 seconds or 5
Yeah.
minutes? Okay. What else have we got?
Feedback.
That's the feedback.
And there's notifications again, but it's not working. And then don't press on that; it's useless. The settings.
Okay.
But yeah, basically, okay. Now, wait. Okay. Cool. I don't even see that. Okay, so I wanted to check the notification. Okay, so what general feedback do you have on like the app making sense and not making sense? What do you think can be improved? One big problem I have, which I still haven't solved, is like knowing how to recommend the right action. Like that's very hard. Like why is YouTube successful? Because it's very like YouTube recommended is super good, and so I don't know how to do that yet. But what feedback do you have?
Yeah, no, it made sense. I think you should just like maybe tighten up a few things, like the timer. I'm probably remembering that because that was the most recent thing, and then also like the profile picture of human was a bit like rough around the edges. Maybe capitalize the action more, which might sound weird, but like it was just kind of all lowercase. I don't know. I feel like it should have been, because that was in a bigger font than the stuff underneath. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, man. It's different from when I last used it for sure.
Yeah. Is it better or worse?
I think it's is that the whole thing?
There will still be a part where you can see all the information and tools.
Because on the home screen last time it was like, here are your three mentors or whatever. You can scroll down and choose a video or something. That was good when it had that. So, but if you still have that as well on there, then yeah.
Yeah, that version is still available. It's this. BetterDo.net/do.
I have to copy and paste that one because there's no HTTPS. Yeah, here we go. So this one's got the 3 actions at the top and then recommended. I think, yeah, this one's good. I like this. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be on a phone to me.
Yeah, it is for phone.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering because it's like cropped on the sides, which is fine. For every glass of alcohol, drink 2 glasses of water with electrolytes. No, I will not be drinking alcohol, Huberman.
Good job. Are you getting like the little thing and it's like asking you a question, or what are you saying?
I'm just getting the videos, and then I'm on the quick tip section, and then I press add to my
Ah,
to-dos.
maybe.
Okay, and then okay. Yeah, no, I like this one. If you keep that, I think, and then wait, what was if I?
It's a bit all over the place, by the way, if you haven't noticed yet.
I'm going back to the first link you sent. But your first action. So it's built. Where would that be put in? Would that be one of the 3 actions at the top of the home page, and then you click on it, and then it takes you through it?
So the way the new one is made is that you have that, but then you have like a section where you can like search, and then you can see all those different tools, and you can add what you want. So it'll keep that format where it's not like you navigate the different parts. It's just still focused on like doing one thing, but then you could press search, and then you can see the different coaches and the different like podcasts, different stuff that you can choose to follow and pursue.
So they open the app, and that's the first thing they see.
The first thing you see is your action. You do the action, and then you could check in like later in the day when you're done, or you could just when you open the next day, or when you get a notification, anything like that. And then once you're done with that, you can move to the next action, and then you can choose which actions you want to get based on the search that you make. You can choose a mentor. You can see all their stuff, and you can say, I want to start a business by Alex, and you choose that. That has like 10 actions. You can see the summary, the list, and you can just press add, and then you kind of like have a plan that you can use over the next few days.
Have you added Sam Owens?
I, I
I'm searching on the second link, and it's not
you're probably not going to find some of them. So.
working. But I was just wondering because if you have Sam Ovens, I think one of his main things is like turn off all your notifications, delete your social medias. So that'd
Yeah,
be
that's. I mean, that's. I did another stupid thing, which was I wanted to stay in the
paradoxical.
first in the first 6 months. I was like, I will not make notifications. Like the user who paid told me, please put notifications. I'm like, no, the app needs to be so good that you don't need notifications. You need to open it by yourself. And that's where I noticed I'm living in a utopia. Yeah, it's like, no, it needs to be done like this. So I'm sorry, I can't make notifications because of what Sam Evans said. Because I don't have notifications on. But then recently I was like, actually, if it's a notification that helps, like if you have a calendar that's telling you, hey, you have a meeting at 6, that's a good notification.
Mm,
And so if it's get sunlight and it tells you at like 7 a.m., that's a good notification. And
yeah.
you're choosing to put it. You're not just getting, hey,
So
Andrew liked your post.
yeah, it's very hard. I'm so glad the way I've done it. Like it's so hard to reach me if I don't want to speak to you.
What's your how can someone reach you? How does someone reach
They could email me or like, but I won't respond quickly. Like I literally go on like social media like less than once a day now.
you? What did you open? Which social
So my
media?
average notifications is on my phone is about 7 a day. Currently, most of that's just like iMessages.
And what do you open? Which is it just iMessage? You open any social media?
Oh, I've got like it's like my close family on Ringer or whatever, but everyone else is just muted. But then like I have certain times on certain days where I'll just check all the social medias at once.
So Instagram, yeah,
Instagram,
TikTok, whatever.
Twitter, Telegram. I don't have TikTok.
What do you think is like the place to be? Okay, actually no, because it depends on the person. For me, where do you think I should like go for to grow the app?
Reddit seems to have done you well so far. I haven't really done anything with
Yeah,
Reddit, but
that is
if
that,
it's not broken, don't fix it, right?
that's a good point. Yeah, Reddit did much better than I thought. Like I just said,
Spamming Andrew Huberman's not Discord server, Reddit threads.
subreddit.
Yeah, subreddit. That's it.
I mean, that's what I did. I would be like, hey, you need a tool for sleep. I give them the 5 tools that can help them, but then it's like, yo, like, I'm going to tell you, but like, it's hard to do. So just open this link in the app. And then that link would take them into a specific clip with a specific action. And that was working, but it wasn't broken, but I fixed it. And so now I kind of, like what I told you before.
Yeah, I think with the app, I prefer the one where you could kind of choose your action a little bit more. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, too much choice is going to be bad, but I think that one where you've got like maybe 3 at the top, or you say like, I want a tip from this person today. Whereas if you just log in, like you said, the algorithm is hard. It's hard, you know, unless you're like tracking them through all these different websites.
Yeah, and then
figure
it
out what
would
they need.
depend. It would depend on the time of day. Like if you're opening in the morning, you can't see something like that's good for sleep because it's going to be super hard to do. Or if you open at night, you can't see something for the morning because that's already done. Uh, so there's a lot of complication on that side.
Just feel like a little bit of choice is good, I think, but not too much.
Yeah, good point. Huh. How about I ask for advice about niche? Which niche do you think I should go for? So I'll give you. There's basically the typical self-help, which is more like Mark Manson, maybe Gary V's kind of self-help. There's how to win friends and influence people, rich dad, poor dad's kind of stuff. So there's that self-help side, which is a lot of mostly books, but there's some like podcasts and online stuff. Then there's the health, focus, productivity, performance, which is basically Huberman, kind of maybe Stephen Kotler, good for flow, Ali Abdal. There's that side. And the third is the business and the thinking, which is like Sam Ovens. There's Naval. There's Alex Hormozy, Patrick Bet-David, uh, Farnham Street, which is the Knowledge Project. And so there's 3 different things. And so I think I have to choose one. I'm not really sure which to go for.
Why do you think you need to choose one?
Because then it's all over the place. Because like a big reason why you would not see good recommendations is that there's gonna be 50 creators. Like that's a lot of overhead. Like if you've seen Alex Ramosi's video when he talks about like Chick-fil-A only has like 3 products or something like that, whereas all other businesses have tons of different products, and then that confuses the person, then confuses the employees. That makes like yeah, because like if you have one product, you'll make this product so good, and it's better than having like 10 different products that are all meh good.
Yeah,
And so if I could have 50 creators, but then each one of them has like 10 tools, that's like eh. Or is it better to just choose like a category, not even a creator, like a category, and just have all these creators for this category that's clear? I can explain it to the person. It's clear you have this goal. You're going to improve your focus, or you're going to improve your business, or you're going to improve your just beliefs on life, which is self-help. It's much better in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I wasn't disagreeing. I was just interested in your reasoning. I'm not looking up the Chick-fil-A menu. Are you sure? What did you say? Three items. Are you sure it was them?
No, it's. I think it was. If it is 10 items, it's basically like the burger and the fries and then the drink, and then the burger basically they're like it's only like 1 or 2 burgers I think, and then like it's just chicken, butter, pickles, and then the bun or something like it's just 5 ingredient burger. It's like they didn't change that. I'm like, okay,
Okay,
that's
yeah. No, the focus does make sense. Like I said, it kind of depends who you want to aim it at. Like, if you've had success with Huberman's subreddit and, like, maybe that's the way to go. I think also the Huberman stuff is probably more actionable than the general self-help stuff, because a lot of the general self-help stuff is just like, stop caring what people think, positivity, gratitude, and it's
yeah.
like, I mean, you can action them, to be honest, but I feel like it's kind of harder. Like, if Gary Vee's screaming about why you should be positive, like how do you be more positive today? I don't know. I guess you could turn it into like,
How can you be more positive today?
just like, I guess give 5 people compliments or something you could do.
Okay, that's your action item for that. Give one person a compliment.
Sure.
That's just all you need to do. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why it's nice to have the one action, in my opinion. It's just much clearer. It's like, but yeah, thanks. That's very good advice.
No, I think you should have one item per day, but I think people should be allowed to choose it a bit more, Does that make
Gotcha.
sense? So
100%.
like
Yeah, yeah.
at the top, you had three on the previous version, three of your daily goals. Maybe be like have this one button, it's like choose your item, and then it gives you like which one of these three would you like.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Amazing. And maybe if showing three tools is overwhelming, then someone can just choose the topic. Like, okay, today I want to improve my focus, or I want to improve my business. And it's like you choose the thing that you want to improve on.
I mean, I think
Uh,
the simplicity is really important, like you said. So you maybe don't want to do too much, but I think a bit of choice. And I don't know if this is possible, but you could probably almost use that as feedback for your algorithm if you have an algorithm, right? So if the app was thinking of giving them this one out of these three and they choose that one, it's okay, so the algorithm's good for
yeah.
this. But then if it keeps getting it wrong on like it keeps giving them business tips and people keep wanting health tips at like I don't know 3 p.m. I don't know. I feel like you could probably get some feedback from what they choose versus what it would have predicted. That's just an
Yeah, yeah.
idea.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like yeah, definitely. And then you'd see the ones that they didn't choose, and then it can identify the pattern. Uh,
That might
yeah.
be quite hard, and you probably would need quite a bit of data for that. But that's
Yeah,
just something I thought of. Yeah.
what else do you think holds the app back? Like, what's missing, or like, why would, in terms of just the app experience, what's bad from that side?
I mean, I think, like I said, some of the stuff needs a bit more neatening up. But I think, depending on who you are, there might not be the people on there that you want, or the actions that you necessarily, or even need. Say you're like Andrew Kirby, and you're already like or Naval starts using the app. Let's say if they're already a mentor on there, I guess they could remind themselves of things, but this
I'm
is
doing Owen
this is
Sheasby.
probably quite hard. But do you know what I mean? If some people already know a lot of this stuff, you almost need like even higher level stuff, which I'm not saying it doesn't already have. Like I haven't really looked at all of it, but if someone's already like meditating every day, they're already like getting good sleep and eating healthily and not drinking alcohol and all this stuff. It's like, but I'm sure there's something for everyone. Maybe you could actually add something that's like, what is your current routine like, or something, or like, what do you
Easy,
struggle with
medium,
the most?
advanced, or something.
Like, how many hours sleep do you average get? Like, how often do you eat junk food, and how often do you drink alcohol? And then that could be used to tailor it as well. I don't think that's necessary, but
Yeah, that's actually very good. Like, those are very, very good points, especially for like someone on the other end.
because
And
imagine like
it's
sorry, I was gonna say, if you're just new into self improvement and like, and then you've got some guy telling you about like circadian rhythms, you might be kind of like, oh, whoa. Like maybe you need like a lower level, just like spend less than this much time on social media today or something. Like a baby steps kind of if people are really down bad.
yeah. I mean,
But it
we
depends
were all there.
who you're aiming at. Again, like a lot of things I've been saying, it's like depending on this, or you know.
Yeah, that's a great point. Um, yeah, I feel like I know it's a podcast, but it's just like I still feel like I'm talking too much about like my stuff, and like let's talk about you. Like,
It's
what are
fine,
you
man.
working on at the moment? No, no, I'm actually genuinely asking. Like, what are you working on at the moment?
So yeah, I think this was before we started recording, but I'm editing the video currently of like my experience of Ramadan, which was it was good. I'm glad I did it.
Tell me a bit about it, because like I fast. So
Yeah, are you Muslim or?
yeah, originally like my family, but like now I'm not really religious in any way. So.
Yeah. So how did it go? I had an expedition where we were walking like it's like 15 to 20 kilometers a day, and I wasn't sure like should I fast with this or not. And I did in
Wait,
the end, and it was fine. I was glad. Like that was cool to do that. It's one of those things for the cookie jar that David Goggins talks about.
hey, wait. The cookie jar is kind of different than that. What's in the cookie jar for you?
Well, isn't the cookie? Well, the one that David Goggins talks about is it's all his
Yeah,
like previous successes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And things that suck too. It's just stuck in
Hmm.
the computer.
Oh, so things that suck as well. Okay. Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, dehydrated walking for miles with a heavy bag on was a big win for me.
What were you thinking of during that? Was it like yeah, what are the negative thoughts that came? But like
I wasn't thinking about like I was never like close to stopping doing it. Like it was uncomfortable. Um, I just kind of I'm pretty good at just kind of forcing myself to do at least physical stuff. I think so. We just need to keep walking, and then we'll get there. um, yeah, and then I'm also looking into like sales or like appointment setting jobs. And seeing how that goes. Might just
um
leave school.
how do you, when you're planning, do you think like, okay, what's the thing that's gonna make me most money, or do you think like, where do I want to be exactly in 30 years? Do you have like, okay, so some young people, 17, 18, like when you're dropping out, you some people have this exact vision of how their life they want their life to be. Others just know that the path that they're on is not nice, so they switch. And so, which one of these are you?
It's a bit of both, I think. It's like the path I'm on, I think, could be better, but then I do think that the other way will get me close where I want to go quicker, which is just basically financial freedom. Currently, is the main goal.
What's financial freedom for you? How much is that?
Um, I did do the maths roughly a while ago. I think this was for me and my brother to live in somewhere kind of cheap, but it's probably like if you live in like Thailand, it's probably like 500,000 or something invested.
Hmm.
Um,
And so you'd spend, I think that's what Andrew has like, yeah, I was surprised actually when I first like saw Andrew like, because he was always like on YouTube, he said that he made this much money and he reached financial freedom and all that. And then eventually I found a video, I think through Synthesizer, when it was like, he made $400,000 and that was financial freedom. I was like super surprised and taken back, but it was like, you invested, and so it
you thought
pays
it
off.
was low?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know, like because the way maybe like what I compared to,
Yeah.
um, like if I compare maybe a software engineer and like any place in America right now, it's like they're making 150 a year, and like so that's like in 2 years they got or 2 3 years they got financial freedom. Um,
Well, the places those guys are living are usually more expensive, but yeah.
yeah,
But
definitely.
that's the thing. Like, if you go,
But
that's the beauty of earning in like pounds and dollars and living somewhere with a weaker currency. Like you were talking about at the start of Lebanon, it's just like you could live like a king in
yeah,
Thailand for like 2 grand a month, from what I understand, anyway.
yeah, here too, I would say so. Yeah, I think in Lebanon that also makes sense. I mean, here it's also like there is a lot of expensive stuff because I don't know, for some reason there's a lot of rich people here. Like I think I don't know how, like we're in an economic crisis, but people have tons of money. Like my family too. Um, but like my extended family, not my family. But basically, let's say for you, if you want to live here, you could rent an apartment, let's say for $300 a month, uh, and then you could just eating expenses. I don't know how much. And it's like, yeah, it's like you don't need more than $2,000 a month to live and like do
Hmm.
most things. And so
Yeah.
yeah, you and like 400,000. That's very doable. I mean, if you want to do the math, like by what age did you do the math? Like by what age would you have that the 500K?
Like 5 years, I think is what I
Five, yeah.
was aiming at, yeah.
Yeah, and so I would even say that I could argue that you could do it in 3 years. And so, like, by 20, you'd have your whole life set up. How amazing is that? I always thought that, like, although I'm saying like that's slow, I always said, like, imagine, like, by 20, where I'm still in like the second decade of my, like, I still have 90 years left to live till 110. Like, I'm so free that I can do all of that.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
anyone,
it's so
any,
good. Like, I'm so glad the way I've wired my brain. Like, I just do not understand people who will literally go and get drunk every weekend and you know, just watch TV every night. It's like, what are you doing? Do you not see like where this is gonna go? Because that's why I think some people, if they just repeat their life, the week they live for like years, they're not gonna be any better off.
100%.
And I don't know, people say, you know, enjoy life now, but I don't mind. I'll grind a bit for like, and then, you know. Anyway, I actually like what I'm doing, so it's not even.
But I mean, it's weird because like let's not even go in the like macro scale. Go in the micro scale. Like if someone like if someone wants to describe their ideal day, me myself included, would my ideal day include any minute of me like browsing useless YouTube or like useless social media? Probably not. And so it's weird how we live like, and I'm guilty of this. I'm saying this because I noticed
Mm,
myself like a few weeks ago. I noticed I was like, wait, why am I doing this? It was like 9 p.m. and I'm like, oh, but I worked a lot and like now I need to like, wait, do I want to do this? uh, yeah, and I
yeah,
was like, no, then why am I doing it?
yeah. You gotta fight it. Like I used to play video games way too much. And looking back, it kind of makes me cringe. But you know, I mean, it's a lot of people, and they just get stuck in it, and they think
you-
stoicism helped a lot with that for me. Like realizing that you're actually gonna die, and like your time is actually precious, and it's not just like a lot of people live like they're gonna live forever, and then one day they wake up and realize they're not gonna live forever, and then they have massive regret. So yeah,
Do you feel like time is passing by fast?
yeah, I'd say
Oh.
um, it's weird. Like I think yeah, when I hit 13, my life kind of hit fast forward, but I think that's because partly because of the COVID lockdowns, like it all felt the
Mm.
same, and but yeah, I have a decent sense of urgency. I'd say I'm not complacent, but it's not. I'm trying to enjoy myself along the way as well. It's not just like, oh, I need to like hurry up all the time because that's not fun. But yeah.
Yeah, but here's another way to see it. I don't know why I think like I always say this, and I don't know. I think I'm the only one who thinks like that. But the way I look at it is, so the time I was like aware or like that I'm alive or something like I was probably like matured or like to notice. Okay, I'm alive. Like you don't remember anything when you're 2 years old, 5 years old, 7 years. You barely remember that, and so maybe your memory kind of starts around I don't know eighth grade, ninth grade, something like that. Once you're like 13, 14, maybe.
Yeah, that's why to me I think it's kind of cool that I haven't even.
You're a toddler. Like you're 2 years in. And when you think about that, like just to tell you how crazy it is, if you're let's say 3 years in and you're gonna live till you're 100, there's 85 years left. Okay? 100 something. Okay? So if there's 85 years left and you had three, then that's literally like you have, I don't know, 25 times your life again. You're gonna live the past few years 25 times again.
That's something I did realize. Like a lot of my memories and like biggest achievements have been pretty compressed, like the last few years, and so I've only been on this, I guess, I don't know, self improvement thing, you know, for like
No,
probably
not self improvement. Just
yeah, but I think it is like 3 4 years. And if I just imagine out in 3 4 years, it's going to be at least double. Well, like, due to exponential growth, it should be way higher. But you know, like because people worry like, oh, I'm 50 years old or something, and they're only just starting to like get their lives together. But it's like if you've only been trying to get your life together for 2 years, and you're 50, by the time you're 52, you're probably going to have made double the progress or even more. Like you know, that time before is almost like
yeah.
redundant because you weren't even trying then. You were just asleep. You were just plugged into the system matrix, whatever you want to call it. Like,
But don't you? There is also a version of people who we might be is that you try to be different. You try to seek financial freedom, but then you fail, and then you go back to just a regular. Nothing wrong with that action. Like it's totally normal. You can just go back to that side. Um, and then you can continue your life believing that like oh there's two ways it's either that you failed or you can say the system is rigged and so there are people who are 50 who tried the other path and it just didn't work and that's why they chose the other one
no, I'm not good on doing that. You just keep trying. I don't know. To me,
it's,
it
yeah
just kind of seems obvious. Just like you know, if you failed and you spent 2 years trying and you failed, well, try another 2 years.
Do you have like a deadline in your head where it's like, if I don't do this by 30, then I'm just gonna go back and go to university, for example?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a deadline.
Would you even, when you're 30 and you're super struggling and you're like, you're trying to make something work and you're just working at McDonald's so you can make this thing like to just be able to eat, and you're trying to grow this other crazy business or sales process that you're starting?
I just don't really see that as a possibility right now.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I'm naive, but I don't think thinking like that helps. I haven't even thought about that, to be honest.
Tim Ferriss actually has a TED talk where it's like, write down the worst case thing that's gonna, like, see all
Mm.
your fears. Like, if it doesn't work, your life's gonna suck. Are you okay with that? And the thing is that I am okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with this. Like, I actually did a quick story. Like, a few years ago, I was like, okay, I want to see like how much it sucks, and so I literally left the house with nothing. I went to like a city far away, no money, no food, no nothing, just a bag of clothes, and I was like, I'm just gonna see what. No house. I literally slept. And I'm not gonna get into that at all. But yeah, basically nothing, and then I just started to see how it goes, and then I worked at a restaurant for a few days. Uh, and then I like they didn't give anything, and so I tried another restaurant, and then I wanted to exercise, and so I was just like, cool story. But yeah, do that dumb stuff.
That
It's not dumb.
that sounds interesting, man. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I had nowhere to sleep, and it's like I had to find out like that. Okay, so this is something I like to talk about. Like the the joy from solving a problem, like apart from the result, like actually doing the thing and seeing if it works. Like my app, I see it like, you know how when you're picking a lock,
Mm.
is it working? No, it's not working. Then you try again, and then you keep on trying and trying. Like that part is so good because there's a problem that you're trying to solve. And it's like there is a solution, and you're looking for it. Um, and so, although it's going to be hard to reach it, but once you do, it's going to be so impactful, not just for you, but for other people as well. And so whenever a challenge comes at you with whatever you're trying to do, you see, okay, so now I learned this, and so now I can fix like that, and then I'm slowly getting to something. Now that only works if the something that you're trying to reach is something you care about. And so that's why if I ask you again, like the question is like, do you have the specific thing that you want to reach in 10 years or 15 years? It's like, if you know that, then everything is normal because you're like, it's part of the process. But if you're not sure what you're aiming for, it's going to be very confusing because you're not going to know what you're going for. So when you face a challenge, you're going to feel like, okay, this is challenging. It's not an obstacle. It's just something that's actually going to, like, I don't know what to do about it, instead of this is a part of the process. And
Mm.
so that's why I think it's important to like maybe not choose or define something, but have a, passion's a weird word, but a problem to solve. A
Mm.
problem to solve is more about
Yeah.
it.
Seneca said something like, "For a ship with no destination, no wind is favorable." It's like if you don't know where you're going, like you're just drifting around. You don't know. You never know if you're going the right direction because you literally don't have a target.
Well, I just remembered the reason I actually went on that trip that I told you with nothing was because I was reading Meditations in Seneca. I just remembered. Yeah, I was like, okay, now I want to be. I just want to go and have nothing. And so that was the motivation to go and like start from scratch or something like that.
I think I have to try that, man. Sounds good. But yeah, I can't remember who it was. Someone said like, honestly, if it fails, it's not that bad. Like you can always just like sleep on an air mattress and just eat like, I can't remember what they said. Something cheap, like ground beef and
Ramen
rice or
noodles.
something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in startups, there's like you have to get ramen profitability. So like just
Enough.
basically enough
Enough.
to live off
Yeah.
ramen. Anyone can live off that, but like using the worst case scenario to drive you. Hmm.
'Cause
It really
it's
depends.
not as bad as you think usually.
Sure. Yeah, like if I look back at that time, it was very bad, but it's not as bad as we think because you get used to stuff. Like this is something else I noticed. Um, like if hedonic adaptation is basically the scientific term, but whenever you think that something is going to be bad, uh, eventually realize that like actually it will be bad, but like for the first 1 or 2 weeks, but then you're used to it. Like when you spoke about people with jobs and like their weekend, like they just go and drink or they watch TV and like they hate their life, but they got used to hating their job so much that they don't hate it that much. And so that way, the worst case thing is just normal because it's a habit. Like if you're living the best life, you also get used to it. You don't wake up every day and you're like, oh my god, this is so amazing. It's just okay. Well, I live with it and then I keep going. And so it's also the same thing for the worst.
When I was fasting for Ramadan, like the first few days, just like, oh my god, I'm so thirsty. Like, and then by the end, I was just, I think I don't know if my body actually adapted or if my brain got used to it, but it was like actually fine. Like, it was still nice to drink by the end of the day, but it wasn't like the first like few days. It was like, oh my god, my throat has never been so dry.
Did you do the full 30 days? Did you
Yeah,
do all of it? Yeah, okay. And would you wake up at like 3, 4 a.m. to eat, or would you just stop eating and
yeah,
then
yeah.
keep
It was most days I would wake up and eat, but it wasn't that early for me. It wasn't 3 4. It was maybe four or five.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
But then sometimes I go back to sleep from like 6 until 7 or something. Or some days I just slept through. Like I actually had an alarm on, and I remember waking up, and I just I put the alarm off,
100%,
and
yeah.
I was meaning to get up, and then I just wake up again. I'm like, oh, I fell asleep. I think I was just so tired, just didn't want
Yeah,
to do it.
100%. Well, what's the hardest physical thing? Was it this challenge that you've ever done? Like the hardest, maybe workout, maybe something like that.
This was the longest, like, because you know there's like intensity and then like endurance, whatever.
Ah, yeah. I did the 4x4x4 day. I think I told you guys,
So
which
the
is basically
David Goggins run four
yeah.
miles every four
I did that like
hours.
a month ago. Yeah,
How's that?
it was cool. It was yeah. It was easier than I expected to be honest, but it was harsh because I was running in the streets at 2 a.m. Yeah, like yeah, and then I actually fell, and I was gonna get hit by a car, and I twisted my ankle, but it was a fun experience. Like every single time, I don't know why. Like we'll talk about personalities, but like, are you the same with this? Whenever like something bad happens, you're like, oh, this is like cool. Like now I can have something to struggle. Like when something bad happens, like let's say the thirst part and like the journey that you had, the I don't know what you would call it, but like the hike, the run, the whatever. It's like that that's part that's the good part about being human. It's like that experience.
You remember the hard things. That's what I always say to people. It's like, why do you want it to be easy? No one looks back on their life and says, "Oh, I'm so glad I sat on the sofa. You know, that was such a great time." It's like no, it's like the times you actually did hard things and you beat them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know,
Sometimes it's not
Jocko.
even when you beat them. Sometimes you don't even have to beat them. You still remember them. That's what I like.
No, true. But like Jocko always talks about like good, like even something bad. Every time something bad happens, just say good. I love that. The Stoics
Every
also
time
like kind of
something
talk
bad
about that as
happens,
well.
just like, it's
Um,
actually a good, great perspective.
Akira the Don had made a song out of it. Do you know him?
From your podcast, but other than that, no.
No, it's great. Yeah, I love his stuff. Um,
Just yeah, it's like that's why. Do you remember enough that Corey mentioned one time, and I flipped out in the meeting? Like
yeah,
he basically
he's
has
a
like
rapper, right? I don't really
yeah, the
listen to
most
him.
depressing songs maybe ever. It's like I enjoy listening to that because like that struggle is is so like it's an experience that you need to live, even though it's negative. Because like for some reason I just enjoy the negative. I don't know. I don't know when people spread positive. I'm like, well, no. Like sometimes like I
To
don't know. I
grow,
haven't
you
cried in
must
a very
suffer.
long. Yeah, it's like a few years ago I would literally wait until I can cry because I enjoy it so much. Now I don't cry. But like before, I used to enjoy it. What I used to say was like, you're human, and so it's about the extremeness of the emotion. It's like if you're, what's better, like being a bit happy or like being super, maybe let's say heartbroken, like you're fully in that moment and you're getting something uh, that I haven't gotten in at least 2 years. But I would say that like that part is very important to some. Uh, and it depends on the personality. Like you don't like personalities in MBTI, but like I'm a nerd for that in some way. Did you get into that eventually or no?
No, I watched a Sam Ovens video on it, and he was saying how it's not actually set in stone and how you can use it to identify your strengths and you can actually change it over time. So I'm slightly more warm to the idea, but I still haven't done one. Maybe I will, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of like labels, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I am an
Uh,
introvert. I'm an extrovert. Oh, I'm not good at speaking to people. I don't know if that's helpful.
what changed the most in your identity in the past few years?
What do you mean by identity?
What's something that changed about you at all? Maybe a character trait, something about your personality that if I met you 3 or 4 years ago, uh, it's like that's very different from you now. It could be that you talk to more people. It could be that you're more confident. It could be that you're much more hardworking. Like you used to play video games, that's one thing. It could be that now you have like much more curiosity.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Okay. Probably like how much I care about the opinions of. I guess it's not everyone, but like people who aren't doing what I want to do, or being how I want to be. Also, I think I'm much better at prioritizing. Because like 3 or 4 years ago, that was when I used to just like play video games all the time and just like. I mean, I've always been good at school, so I was hardworking there. But then I'm starting to realize now that is that where you want to focus all your energy to, you know? Well, it wasn't even that it was all my energy. It was just kind of like I always was told like just be good at school, so I just was, and that's just kind of who I was. But now that's kind of ripped out my identity, and I'm like I don't need to get A stars all the time now. So it's kind
and,
of
and what's a belief that changed?
so many, man. um,
See, and that's what I'm saying about personality as well. That like you can choose what you want to change towards. And so on like although like personality stuff helped me realize what I'm weak at and what I need to work on.
mm,
Like so basically I'm the intuitive type. And so what I'm super weak at is basically like having like what I said, I have this thing, but then I want to go to this thing and that's stuff. And so having the structure, like not coming up with ideas the whole time, just being more like present or sensory, like to be
mm,
specific. And so the past year, it changed a bit, or like a bit, like in the past few months, but like it was very much the sensory type, and like much more towards the thinking. Because I was so self-aware of how I usually am, I was able to identify, oh, it's my NI, oh, it's my like my TI, which is stuff on like the MTI stuff.
yeah. What
And
are you? INT. What?
so it is INTJ, but then like if you want, like in fact it's actually like the INFJ, but like it's the test switches since what I said, because but what I was like for the most of my life was the FJ, which is the feeler more than the thinker. But in like the past year, I was definitely more of a thinker.
Mm.
But I do think that like uh, if I'm free and not just constantly think about business, I would be more INFJ. That doesn't even mean thinker or feeler. It's more like, so let me ask you, do you when something bad happens, okay, when someone does something bad to you,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel attacked in some way?
I definitely would have used to, but I think, I mean, maybe for the first split second, but I'm certainly better now at keeping it like way more objective. Like with the stoicism stuff helps a lot. It's just kind of like the way I view it now is normally that they're probably having some issue or pain in their life, and they're
Hmm.
just projecting that on me. So I'd say probably not, but maybe
Okay,
in the
and if
first
someone
split second because of the human nature thing. But
and if that person is going through something tough, or they're crying or they're sad, do you feel like you need to help them, or do you feel like a ton of empathy?
it depends. Like I know, yeah, I could guess because I think maybe I kind of used to be a bit more judgmental of people, but some people then again I'll just be like, well, you know, you try or you just think this person is not gonna, they won't listen to me or whatever. They won't. You know, it's like people don't want to be saved and like don't save them. Or, but it depends. Like
Yeah.
if
So
I can help them, I'll try. But
yeah. So
just doing
you're
you're just doing a Myers Briggs test on me, like right
yeah. I
now.
am. I am. And okay, sure. So just which Do you think you're more of the basically you have different ideas that you come up with, or you look at structures and you try to learn from them?
I feel like that's too broad a question.
It is. It is. Okay. So basically, okay. By the way, just introvert and extrovert is like not necessarily how you communicate with people, like what you prefer.
It's so you get
It's more
energy
about
from, right?
neither that. Like the way I
Mm.
like to say it, it's where you actually put your energy towards. Like, does most of your energy go inwards or does it go outwards? That's basically it. Do you point your attention inwards or outwards? Like I myself, when I want to think of something, I try to like go inward. Or if I want to like process an issue, it's like I come to myself. If I want to feel something, I come to myself. But other people, when they want to talk about something, they go they or when they want to like come up with an idea, they don't go sit by themselves. They want to like go externally to find something. And so this is where it's different. Is your attention mostly towards yourself or towards the outside? And this is where introverted or extrovert. And so if you're like very self-conscious, you're probably more and like very self-aware, you're probably more introvert because your attention is inwards. Um, which one do you think you're more? I think you seem extroverted,
Mm.
but you like to say you're introverted because you're going through a phase. But you are more extroverted, I think. I might be wrong, but yeah.
That's so interesting that you say that.
Yeah, I'm just reading people the whole time.
I was gonna say it depends on who I'm with. If I'm in my like day-to-day life, probably more introverted because, well, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the people around me, I like, they don't know about the stuff I want to talk about that much. You know, whereas with other certain people, then I'm gonna want to talk more. So it is, like I said, you probably get bored of me saying it depends in
No,
this
no, no. It's
podcast,
totally
but
fine. It's totally
like,
fine. 100
I think
like,
it
but
does because that's what I heard somewhere that like most people are ambiverts. They call it's called
yeah,
where you can like you almost switch.
yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. It's like I repeat, like I'm not introvert and extrovert has nothing to do with how you want to talk to people, and that's why what you just answered is 100%. Like sometimes I enjoy being by myself. Sometimes I enjoy being with people. Like you can, no one is different than that. No one in the world. And so what I was saying is just like, um,
Which way
in
do you?
certain things, basically in MBTI, in certain things you look outward, in certain things you look inward. Sometimes, like I have extroverted feeling, where if I want to feel something, I'm usually caring about someone else. But I know people who's introverted feeling, and so, but that means that their thinking is extrovert. So that's the way it works. It's just it's not even that important. It just gives you more self awareness because I take all these quizzes to just like understand myself. I'm like look for my weaknesses. And yeah, I have a ton of weaknesses. A lot of which showed up when I'm talking now or when we talk usually. What are some weaknesses that you have? Like maybe we can have a takeaway from this weaknesses that we can work on to improve.
Mm, I'm still here. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, totally fine. I mean, you seem like a very confident person, though.
You think?
Yeah, yeah, you
Mm,
seem very confident. Even in a bit, you are like you have one belief that I have like a lot that I had a lot at your age is like I would look down on the people who were doing those habits and activities and not taking charge in something. Now I'm much more neutral and stoic to that, where it's like it's just a matter of preference. If that person likes watching Netflix all day, they just like doing that. That doesn't mean they're anything. It's just a matter of preference. Like you wanting to work so much doesn't mean you're good. Or it doesn't mean you're better than anyone else.
No, I
You're
don't.
just,
I mean, I guess maybe that's something I can work on because I don't look at these people like, oh wow, that's just like like wasting their time and everything. But I mean, to me, it seems like a waste of time. I just think that a lot of people don't realize like maybe how much potential they could have, and they get like
wow, that's a very good way to put it.
stuck
Yeah.
in these habits which are maybe not serving them. It's not. I don't think like they're worse people. So maybe maybe I need to make a better point of showing that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah, it is something
it's
that
just
can.
personally, I think maybe my like I don't know, I guess passion comes out that like I just couldn't do that for myself anymore. Like I used to do that, so That's probably part of it. But yeah, no, I don't think I look down on these people. It's just, yeah, I think their lives could be better if they had more information or perspective on what they were doing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, uh, like, okay, here's a question. Do you think that people need to do it on their own or that you can actually help them? So if you see someone and you see potential in them that they could be doing something else, do you think you should tell them stuff? Or do you think that actually like your guidance will not change anything since it just comes from within? Like they need to take charge on their own. What do you think?
It depends. Like a lot of people are, especially people who are, some people just won't listen to you, right? But some, it depends who they are. Like if someone's like addicted to smoking, they've been smoking for like 50 years or something. If you tell them like, oh, smoking's bad, you don't want to die young, do you? Like, that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, true.
But if you find someone who's kind of interested and maybe has some idea that maybe there is more in this life than just, working until they're like 70 years old, it depends on the person, I think, because some people are more open to it than others. So yeah, there you go. The famous answer of it depends again.
I love that answer. Yeah, that's basically every single time. And people, old friends used to hate because I would never give. I'm like, if anyone asks, it's like, why,
If,
why,
if,
no.
if
What if,
people
what
if
if?
people ask me for help, yeah, I'll definitely like try and help them. But and even if I see someone like struggling, like look, maybe you could try this, and if you don't want it, that's fine. This worked for me. And some people will take it, and some people will just be like, no, shut up. And then it's like, okay, fine, and just leave them, and then just don't bother anymore. But yeah, I think some people definitely do just need to get there themselves, I think. Because you just can't. Like, I don't think you can with some people.
Are you receptive to good? Are you receptive to advice? So if someone gives you, like, tells you work on this, work on that, are you good at receiving the advice, or are you usually like against it?
Depends what it is and who it is. But if they're like, if they've done things that I want to do, or have like solved problems that I'm trying to solve, then I'm going to be much more receptive to it than if it's just some random person who's trying to, give you a lesson, even though they don't even try themselves. I don't know. I try and analyze, like, I try not to just accept advice just because people have given it to me. Like, I try and actually break it down. Like, does this make sense? I think I'm pretty good at accepting it. Yeah. Just turn it
Yeah,
to.
that's definitely with because like, but sometimes you also have to close it off because like a lot of my work was going and consuming content, and like you get overwhelmed by that like eventually because like if I'm basically summarizing videos and then I need to listen to all these different opinions and it's like you got to do this, this, and this, and that, and so a lot of my confusion that came during the app building process was because I would hear someone say, "Oh, you need to do this," and then the other person says, "You need to do this," and then
Mm.
it's like you need to do this, like. I'm the take action on the things you learn. So I do all of that, and it's like you go all over the place, and so you're lost. But definitely, like a good thing to say is like, is that person living the life you want to live? And so here's, have you reached out to mentors? Because this is something that everyone talks about, and it's something that I need to work on more, which is reaching out to people like mentors and seeing if they can give personalized advice to what stage I'm in. Have you done that?
A bit. I mean, I'm trying to do it more with the podcast, which is even, I guess, on steroids really, because you get them on like a call and they actually like speak to you here. I mean, maybe it's
True.
not as personalized because it's more like there's an audience as well. But yeah, a
And how
bit.
how do you reach out to people? Like, is it cold email? How do you choose the people? What's the have you reached out to more than 200 people?
No, probably not.
Okay, yeah. So we're both lagging on that side.
I'm not always convinced that more is like better because I started building. I've wrote it down before, but I started actually turning it into an obsidian graph. I don't know if I should actually say this, but like who knows who, right? Because if you, especially with podcasting, if you know that this person knows this
I
person,
got you. Yeah,
and they see that someone they respect has been on this podcast, well, then people like to be associated with people they like or respect, or even like friends with, like, you know.
that's a
So
very smart way to reverse engineer the
that's
process.
so
Very,
some people I've actually waited a little bit to get someone else on first, and then they know this person, they're more likely to say yes, than if you just go to like, I don't know, Elon Musk tomorrow and give him a cold DM. Like, come on, like, I'm sorry, but the chances are very low. Whereas if you like work your way up and then be like, look, we've had this person, we've had this person. Oh, okay, yeah, I know them. Sure, let's do it.
Very
Because
smart.
then it
Yeah,
feels less like a cold DM. Arjun Kamani equals like a warm DM.
yeah.
Because I don't know if it's just him. He's probably got that from somewhere else, but
Yeah, everyone says that.
they are
Yeah,
more open to it, But yeah, I wanted to ask you something because you've kind of been interviewing me for a bit here. Who's like do you have any like favorite people? You've even mentioned Huberman quite a lot from the app who've had a bit of impact on you.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't even say you went like a long time ago, but then eventually it just winded down. Where it's like, like most of his advice can just be summarized in the first 10 to 20 episodes. And like Andy Galpin did a lot of stuff with them. And then earlier this year, I had a lot of influence from Alex Ramosi. But then, like, looking back now, it's like, what did he actually change in me? Like, really thinking about it, I think he's an amazing character, and I admired his character. His traits were also really good, and he was the first person that kind of looked like he's giving business advice, but he's also like giving it in a way that I like from his belief point. Like he's first of all, he takes care of his health. That's an important thing. When I first saw him, like this guy is taking care of his health, and he has this big business, and he's like, I have nothing to sell you. It's like, oh my god, like I relate to this guy, and so that's why I had a lot of time like bonding with his stuff.
Because you're jacked and rich and have nothing to sell.
Yeah, well, not
You want to be like that more. Is that what you mean?
no. It's just that they gave him a ton more credibility.
Mm.
Like I found Alex like early. It was like August or even July 2021. So that's like almost 2 years
Do you
ago.
know how many like followers he had roughly then?
Yeah, it was. I think it was less than 20K.
Wow.
Not sure.
I think I found him. I
Yeah,
think I found him at like 200K. I think from
yeah,
Benedict, which is still
yeah,
he's on over 1 million now. So I'm still technically like first 20% to
yeah.
find him. But
Yeah, and even like Patrick Bet David, when I first found this channel, he was like now he's at 4 million. I think I found it. He was like 150K maybe, value attainment. And then see the thing is I don't really think I connect with someone a lot, and that's what I've noticed recently. Alex was good for a while, um, but there isn't anyone in specific. Uh, I think I like Mark Manson's stuff. Just don't care about anything.
that's
That's a
it's
good.
modern day stoicism though. Really,
Yeah, exactly. Like just choose what you want to care about, and then just forget all the other stuff.
a lot of self-help books today. Someone pointed out to me, it's just repackaged stoicism.
Yeah, Mark Manson has a video that literally says all that self-help stuff. Okay, it's just basically all written in this old book like a billion years ago. But it's like you're eating glass. So now just the packaging is different to look like funner, but it's just the same exact concept. And so that's the self-help thing. That's the thing with self-help. They're all the same.
There's
Like
nothing
literally,
new under the sun.
self-help is like it's all like you mentioned in the beginning. Like Gary Vee says, like just it's all these general stuff, and it's like,
It's
but
right. Like I'm not taking anything away from it, but like
yeah,
I
just
don't
say
think people
something.
realize how ancient this knowledge is. This is not new.
Yeah, yeah. So it can all be summed up. Like someone can write it in like just a two-pager. Like this is the self-help stuff, and so that's why I went towards more like the focus on productivity, um, because like self-help really just it's repeating the same stuff. In business, if I want to like recommend stuff, uh, there's basically for someone trying to like doing the bootstrap way, there's a book by Peter Levels, which is cool. It's called The Maker. That's a nice one, which I need to take action on more. Um, in the app, I think uh, not David Goggins. There's a guy called Tim Grover. Have you heard of him?
Don't think so.
Tim Grover. Tim Grover. He was basically the trainer of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. He's been on a bunch of podcasts. Uh, yeah, that is someone who I think I admired a lot, and I still like I listen to his advice. Not as much as I should, which is why I need my app.
Tim Grover.
Tim Grover, yeah, yeah, check him out. Who else? 1 year ago, around a year ago, I read Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco.
Hmm.
That was also it was a good book. I don't remember much of it. You can see the struggle happening.
But the thing is, yeah, I mean, that's why the app's here, right? Solve a problem you have. But I think some of it you might not even realize. Like, I think a lot of my beliefs and the way I've built my mindset is, I might not even remember where exactly it comes from. But, if with enough exposure to these ideas, you start to, like, pick it up a bit, I think.
Yeah, that's why it's good because like when we said that all these self-help beliefs are the same, but it's actually good that you hear from all these places because eventually, like,
Yeah, that's what I first did when I was getting into it. I just started originally, like, I was following like a bunch of like motivational quote pages, like you said. I think I used to watch motivational videos as well.
what's the first book you read? Self-help book, nonfiction. It doesn't really matter, but like because I remember mine. I remember how
I mean, I could probably actually figure it out. Um, I
was it. It,
feel
it could
like
be How
it's
to Influence and Influence
no,
People.
I've not read that.
Think and Grow Rich.
No, I haven't read that. I think it
Uh,
was Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
or maybe Atomic Habits. But no, I don't think so.
See, I was like the first time I was at the airport and I saw Think and Grow Rich and I bought it and I was like I want to read this and so I was traveling and so I was like I want to read this and then I think I read the first chapter and I still have the book and I never read like anything after that but I just remember I think I got the whole concept in the first chapter which was like you can do something with your life and just the point is that you just want to like have the desire to do it.
A lot of people
uh,
like that. I think that's like one of the key lessons that like you can actually do this, and people like you, and people worse off than you have done this. And I think that's like
100%.
a massive
That,
part
that's
of it.
that's basically the lesson. And maybe this is my weakness, maybe that I could work on more, which is like the fearlessness, and like having more like self belief that this is gonna work. Which is also something I heard recently. Like you just and Robert Greene, I think, has his 50th law. He did a book with 50 Cent. It's like the 50th law is basically being fearless. So a lot of the times, this is something I'm facing like recently, especially with like programming. It's like should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do that? It's like just do that and just don't think about it. Like the best advice I give myself is just don't think because like you're super scared. Like if I want to do a post on Reddit or if I want to send a newsletter, like the newsletter right now, it's growing. It's like, oh my god, there's all these people and they get in their emails.
What if they
It's
don't
like
like it? Yeah.
yeah, and it's like if you look at I don't want to say that, but like if you look at the successful people, one thing they had is just they put it out, and then if it didn't work, they iterated, which goes back to the lock picking thing. When you're so fearless, stoicism helps with that. Just being so fearless and doing it, it helps in anything. And so I think that if I want to give advice to my younger self, it would just be just think less and like do the ideas that are coming to your mind, just execute on them. And so for you right now, if you're like, should I apply to this job? What if no, like even with the mentorship side, although I agree with what you're saying, like the strategy, like it's also helpful to reach out to the person now because they're gonna see it. And then 3 months later, reach out to them. Hey, I did like 10 podcasts because they like seeing the progress. And so having that fearlessness is what makes you push forward. Like entrepreneurs, like all these entrepreneurs and the people blowing up, like Sam Ovens, like him starting school, going against Circle and all these other community building platforms and sinking everything that he made from consulting.com. That's someone who's fearless. That's someone who had the fear and was just like, I'm going to make this work
He's
and
gonna
didn't
he's gonna
think
do
about it
it.
for 2 years.
I
Yeah.
can already see it. Like everyone in the school community, they all love him. They all love what he's doing because he's actually listening to the community like tons, and they're
It's
bringing it
crazy.
out. It's just yeah.
Yeah. Like I'll
Sam's
tell
so
you,
great.
yeah, I'll tell you the truth. When I first found school like 6 or 7 months ago, I was like, this doesn't seem like it's gonna work out. But it's changed a lot since then, and I think I made sure that it's gonna work when Leon Hendricks did his challenge, and now he moved to school. It's like I think he chose his niche to be the YouTube people,
Mhm.
uh, and now he's getting all those in, and then it's like, yeah, he's he's gonna beat us. So
Hamza's now got his community on there.
yeah, that's another big guy. So
So
join it. Um,
get that momentum going, and then network effects, and it's just boom.
yeah. Also, that's something that we like, which you're good at. I need to work on more, like the network side, because I'm hearing a lot more about it. So I would advise like reaching out to mentors, and I'm saying this to you so I can do it myself. To like reach out to people more because the fear is holding us with like, well, like why? Maybe like by the way, uh, who's someone like you'd love to have on the podcast? Not Joe Rogan, other than Joe Rogan. That's in like 20 years, 10 years.
3. Uh, I don't know.
Really?
Mm, love to have on. I don't know. I mean, I've got people.
Sam Ovens.
Okay, let's say Sam Evans. Sure, I'll just go with that. That would be cool. Yeah.
I mean, Sam Ovens, if you reach out to him and you can ask him, can you do a 10-minute podcast? He'd probably say yes.
Mm.
If he does, like, if he's against podcasts, then he probably won't. But if it's like, if he comes just like 10 minutes, I'm in the school, I do this for synthesizers. I'd love maybe eventually, because he started a school podcast and then they didn't continue it.
Yeah. No.
And so it's
I
just like,
mean, maybe Sam isn't the best example because he's the kind of guy who would just say, "Right, I'm shutting the doors," and throw his phone in a river, and you won't be able to reach him. But yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Who are you thinking about? I think I can imagine BetterDo being a sponsor on the Human podcast.
Man, like the ideas that come, like even today, I found like Huberman's. Turns out Huberman is like he's the Huberman podcast. He's basically just a co-founder. Like someone else is like on his level, I suppose. Like they're, I'm not sure if it's 50-50, but something like that. He's called Rob Moore, and it's like I can just reach out to him. I saw people talking about him today, and it's like I can literally just send him something. And he'll probably answer because nobody knows this name. Uh,
And then, once you got him, humans might say yes.
but then it's like now it's like no, the product's not ready for me to send it to him, and so that's why I don't do it. And so actually 1 year ago, the first version that was actually good enough, I was like, no, I can't talk. And but at that time, Huberman had like 300,000 subscribers, and I was like 3 million, and I found him like in his second podcast or something. But anyway, yeah. But I did like I'll give a quick example for anyone who's scared to reach out to people, including myself. Uh, so basically, around I don't know how long ago, I think I was frustrated with something. I was like, you know what? There's these like 5 people. I just want to like I've been avoiding sending them an email, and I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna send it. And so it was like 1 hour in the library, and I was just like, I'm just gonna send these people emails, and I just don't want to think about it. Okay. And so I sat down, and so there was one person I reached out to, and then I was like, he's not going to answer. And the other, and then the other, and then the other. I was like, these people are not going to answer. I think I sent to 4. One of them is starting something for longevity and whatever. And so we had a call, and we were going to like continue with the project together. Now that didn't continue to work out, but that's one thing. The second was basically a behavioral science organization in the Middle East. And they were like, yeah, sure, you can come to our office. And then they gave advice on the app. And so I went there. It's called Nudge. It's literally like I want to go there. It's like they're the best at behavioral science. Like it's literally called Nudge, and they sent me tons of valuable stuff. And the third one is actually someone I got a job with in America, and right now I have a meeting in 30 minutes with him because like I just reached out to him, hey, what you're doing is cool, and I sent the email. I didn't expect a response, and then the next day he's like, yeah, sure, we can talk for 10 minutes, and then we spoke a bit, and he's like, can you work for me for this stuff? He was building something about gamifying your life and stuff like that. I was like, okay, sure. And then I got like a side job, just doing it for him. And then while I'm working for him, a lot of it is just doing research, which is helping for the app. And so that's and it's,
Yeah, I mean the main thing is like the worst they're gonna do is ignore you or say no, which is really not that bad at all. I remember the first time I literally like DM'd a big account. I think I was literally shaking. I literally like. I even remember doing it. I was like, what is happening? Why am I so like nervous about this? And now looking back, it just sounds like it just kind of makes me cringe a bit. But yeah, it was just like I think it was one of these guys who built like big YouTube channels and scaled them. And I was actually asking him about my brother's YouTube channel because he's like, oh, he had this one video that performed well, but then like the views kind of went back down after that. And then he was like, and he actually replied, and I was like, oh my god, he's actually replied. And he had like 400k followers on Instagram or something, and I was like, why does he want to speak to me? Why is he bothered messaging me? But then after that, that was kind of like a big. I kind of knew that like it wasn't a big thing, but like I don't know if like societal influences or what, but like I was just like really nervous. And then after that, it was like a big unlock. I was like, yeah, these are
Yeah,
still people, you know, like they might check your message, so fire away.
100%. And it's even like I also learned from Sampar that it's actually good to like send the message. Like people appreciate seeing the progress. So Sampar has something where he's like, okay, write a list of 50 people you want to contact, put them in an Excel sheet, put 8 columns, and then you have to reach out to them once a week or maybe once a day, every time, every day or every week. Just put an X until you reach the eighth one, then stop sending. But just keep spamming them until they answer, and
Yeah.
they will.
Another thing is like use different platforms as well. So
Yeah,
like
sure.
go to their Instagram, their Twitter, their email.
There's actually a guy who targeted someone with an ad. He wanted to reach someone, and so he just back at that time, Facebook was easier to target, and so I think he put the guy's name or email or something, and so they just showed the ad with the guy's name, and he's like, "I am talking to you," and then imagine like someone opening right now YouTube, it's like Owen Sheasby. I want to talk to you, and that's the ad you see, and that's what the guy did, and he eventually got in contact with him, and
If
that's crazy.
if someone goes to that much effort, then yeah, I would do that definitely. I mean, I'm not even like you can reach me easier than that, but like even if
Yeah.
like if you saw that on every social media and you're like, okay, fair enough, like this person's really trying, you know, we'll give them a shot.
Yeah, yeah. There's a podcast called Backstage Careers, which I think Victor might be on there soon. And he basically it's like examples of how people got in contact. Like there's a guy who worked with Sam Ovens, and he said the story where he was working at a company, and then he like was able to get there. And then the guy worked for Tom Billieu. He basically was like, I'm gonna take a video or something of me going down a bicycle from Berkeley to LA, like somewhere I don't know, and then that is how eventually they did that. And so doing that crazy thing kind of helps. So that's one thing. But then the other thing that can be so simple, like there's a guy who had an app, and it's basically like take action on self-help books. And I was like, I need to talk to this guy and whatever. I don't know what to send him. I don't know. And I literally just sent a DM, like, and then he responded 1 minute later. It was in my head for an hour.
Wow. Yeah. This has been an interesting conversation. We've gone all over the place. That's like
That's usually the conversations
that's
with
just good.
myself.
It's 2 hours now, man. Do you want to wrap it up
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I don't mind. If
You've
you if
got
you have something to talk about, I need to just leave in like
anything
20 minutes. We can finish now. You probably have some studying. Not really.
studying.
How
Yeah.
about okay, hey, let's do something fun. Let's just say we have 5 minutes. How about each of us reaches out to one person
What now?
now on the podcast?
Okay, I'll pull up my list.
Who would I reach out to? Because this is like what I sound for. It's like people like I know like not thousands of people listen to this, but it's like just on the spot. Like BetterDo. Let's like we know that we need to do this. Let's just do it. And if someone watches this, it's like it's actionable. Like they can implement.
Yeah, join in if anyone's listening. Reach out to someone.
Sure.
Just looking about who is anyone I've been meaning to reach out to who I haven't.
I don't really know. I think let's just go.
I want to do someone who's not. I kind of want to do someone who's like kind of big, because it's kind of dead if I just do some random person.
What's the worst thing that can happen? We're literally like we were gonna wrap up, and now it's just wrapping up with an email that no one's gonna see. So just send it to I don't care the biggest person. Like I'm doesn't matter.
Elon Musk at Tesla.com.
You know, it's definitely. I'm just gonna message Blinkist, like the company.
I think I'll do Sam Oven, seeing as you mentioned him. I don't even know what I'd ask him. But you know.
Hey, what's up? I'm doing this and just appreciate your work. Whatever, I don't know.
No, I mean like, well, the thing is just ask him to do a podcast and then come up with the questions afterwards. Wait, does he even accept DMs on here? Yes, he does. Let's go. Oh.
Should I go Instagram?
Yeah, also like another thing is like reach out to them in like the place they're the most active.
Yeah.
Also, well, not necessarily. People are usually more responsive to emails than Twitter. Emails are kind of more personal because they're usually harder to find. And I don't know why, but Twitter seems to be more responsive than Instagram.
Yeah, I think Twitter is definitely more responsive because it lands like in your inbox. There's Instagram, it goes into like a bunch of requests if you're not following the person.
I think that's the same on Twitter though. Just figuring out what's right.
I thought this. Do you know anyone who I can like who's kind of big but not so big that you think
For what,
I
like
should talk to?
productivity and
Yeah, maybe they could become like partnering up for the app, for example.
what about like scientists? Would you do?
That's a good one. I know a bunch of scientists. That like,
You probably get Anthony Chafee, but he's carnivore doctor. I don't know what you think about the carnivore diet. I mean, the one thing about reaching out to certain people is like if you actually want, you might not want to annoy certain people if you're.
it's fear.
Yeah, I know, but like, I'm not saying to not reach out to people, but like I said with Elon Musk, if you just punt at some people, they might just get annoyed at you, and then you ping them again later.
Uh,
Even if you've made more progress, they're still just like, not this guy again. I don't know.
yeah, I agree with you. 100%. Like I don't want to bother anyone. Uh, but why would I assume that I'm bothering them? What if they're waiting for my message? If they respond and tell me, if they're actually that bothered, they'll tell me, "Hey, don't send me messages or block me." Right? That's the logical thing to do. If they're not that bothered, then they'll be okay with the second message.
Right, I'm ready. About to hit send. I'll read it to you. Hey Sam,
Okay.
I'm active in Andrew Kirby's community and I love what you're doing with school. I can see it's really come far since I started using it. I'd also like to thank you for all of your content. It's helped me a lot. Would you be willing to do a 10-minute podcast? I know your time is precious, so I understand if not. Thanks. Keep crushing it, Owen Sheasby.
I would recommend just adding something, maybe just for him to see a bit of value. Maybe tell him where we can talk about like what you're doing with school. That's just my idea. Maybe not. Maybe just because that's just what I enjoy. Or maybe it's about the decisions, or just something specific where he can know like what you're going to talk about instead of just something random. And it kind of like if it can bug him enough, like I actually want to speak about that, then that would be cool.
Yeah. Actually, I can tell him Andrew Kirby's been on the podcast as well, because they're kind of friends-ish, I think. Who did you say you're reaching out to? A company?
Uh, yeah, I was, but then their email turns out it's not super responsive, so I just went to a YouTuber. Basically, has a Huberman video with like 3 million views, so I'm just gonna send him an email.
Oh, is it like a clips channel?
I know it's he does a vlogs, but like about self-help routine stuff.
Oh, I think I know who that is.
No, it's not Ali. It's another guy.
No, not him. There's another guy who's like,
Sasha.
I tried Andrew Huberman's.
Yeah,
I
that's
keep
Sasha
seeing this
guy.
thing like recommended.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Like I tried Andrew Huberman's routine for like testosterone optimization or something. I refuse to watch it.
yeah.
Sometimes
I refuse to watch it.
I'm kind of like that where like I see a video keep getting
Same.
recommended to me and I'm just like
It's like no, I don't want to see
just
that.
out of spite to the YouTube algorithm. It's like no, I will not give in. Well, I mean, I don't really like go on recommended like barely ever anymore. But when I do, I just keep seeing that. Just like go away. Like those videos are kind of entertaining, but like you're probably not going to get much value from that really.
exactly. You need to take action on it. Yeah.
Promote my app, please. I don't know if I want to talk to him about school though. I feel like
Yeah, it doesn't have to go. I think he kind of maybe doesn't want that either. That's why he stopped the podcast.
I don't even think his podcast was about school that much, was it? I haven't really listened to it. Yeah, his podcast joined the graveyard of 3-episode podcasts. I'm more interested in like the way his brain works and how he analyzes decisions and stuff than actually like, because he already talks about school, like in the community. So, I think I might just leave it at that. Right, I'm gonna send it. Ping. Gone. Active 4 minutes ago. Oh, I just missed him.
Sad.
Nah, he'll be back. Okay, so that's done.
Was that Twitter or Instagram?
That was school.
Oh, school.
Even more personal, you know, on his own platform.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just waiting for you, and then we'll probably just finish.
Done.
So yeah, if anyone's listening, reach out to someone who you want to speak to or have any questions for. The worst I'm going to say is no, or why are you sending
Or
me this
nothing.
message? Or nothing. And that'll be good for your confidence. So do that now. Because you know, people always say that, they're like, oh yeah, I'll do it later, or like, maybe that's a good idea. Do it. Right.
Yeah, this was great.
No, I appreciate it, Zein. It's been cool to
Yeah,
get to
it's
talk
fun.
to you more. Is there any closing thoughts you want to leave anyone with?
Any closing thoughts? I think the fearlessness one is one important thing. Uh, Another thing is to just, which I would like to say to people, is like just doubt your beliefs, which is kind of against the fearlessness thing, but it's like, don't just be open minded.
Mm-hmm.
Just be open minded. Like, I hate when someone just doesn't accept an idea. Like, if we said something today and someone was like, nah, like, I don't like that. Actually, just take a second to process and think about it uh, before just rejecting it completely, even if it's something that you like extremely believe is true and whatever.
A
No,
lot, a
like, be
lot of it's
open.
emotional as well. If it's really embedded, people just instantly reject because that hurts their worldview.
Yeah, and that's what I think that people, everyone needs to change. Whenever you have that cognitive bias against something, just know that it's a bias or a habit that you haven't really questioned enough for you to reject. If you actually think and process about it, you'll understand much more than just saying no, I won't think about that.
Naval has a great quote about that. It's, if it hurts to hear it, look for the truth in it. If it comforts to hear it, look for the lie in it. I think that's
Well,
incredible. One thing
yeah,
I did want
well,
to add in that I wrote down earlier, which I didn't get to say, was about conversion rates. Was how Sam Evans said how you might actually increase your like email sign up, but then in the end decrease your conversion rate for people who actually pay, because
uh-huh.
you might get lower quality people. You know, if you like
Yeah, yeah,
clickbait
that's
a
a very
bunch of people into something, so like higher conversion rate isn't always good. Like the main,
true.
if your main thing is cash, it doesn't matter what your conversion rate is for the email sign up. It's cash. Okay, so what's coming down the
Yeah,
whole pipeline? Yeah, it's what I'm
100%.
saying.
Yeah, and even everyone can know that. Like, there's something called vanity metrics, where it's like, let's say this podcast gets a tons of views, but it like or one, like I think Callum had a video that blew up, and he thought that he's successful, but it's like no, it's just a video that got a bunch of views, but that doesn't mean anything. And so a lot of us can go through that, and you might judge yourself because other people are getting very good stuff. Like if you see a YouTube short with like millions of views, but it's like that doesn't change anything. So just focusing on the most important metric is super important. I 100% agree with what you said. And so yeah, for anyone trying to like thinking that they're making progress, but it's like kind of useless, just know that it's useless. Focus on the thing that actually makes a difference.
Yeah, waking up at 5 a.m. doesn't get you close to the goal.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Or taking a cold shower. Sure, those things might help with discipline or whatever, but keep the main thing the main thing. That's what Sam Evans always says. So people want to check out the app.
Yeah.
BetterDo.net. Net.
It's betterdo.net. And when does this podcast come out? Is it this week or next week?
Probably this week, yeah. But there
This
will be
week.
an app out.
And on the App Store, I don't know if Apple agrees in the next few days, but it's probably going to be till like next week. So
That's fine. That's fine.
yeah,
Send me the link
and you
to
put it
the
down.
App
Yeah,
Store
sure.
thing, and we'll put that in when it's out. So,
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
yeah, appreciate it, Zane. It's been a
Yeah.
good conversation, man.
Yeah. See you soon. Bye.
Yeah, stay well.
Bye.
See ya. Thanks for listening, everyone.